Good morning. Welcome to the media session. First, I'll invite the Chief Executive to speak. Good morning. The SAR government and different industries, the tourism, catering, hotel and retail sectors have all been working hard. And then in Hong Kong, we have successfully held a number of mega events. The number of visitors kept increasing. In the first 4 months, we recorded 16 million visitors to Hong Kong, and year-on-year increase of 10%. 12 million of them were from the mainland, a year-on-year increase of 8%. Non-mainland visitors, 400,000, and a year-on-year increase of 70%. With our airline capacity being reinstated to before pre-COVID levels, we could expect to see an increasing number of visitors, including long-haul visitors. For visitors from Australia, there's a year-on-year increase of 30%. That's notable. And then from Taiwan, Japan, South Korea, there's year-on-year increase of visitors by 20%. From the US, Canada, and Europe, that's a 10% increase year-on-year in terms of visitor numbers. So we will seize upon such robust development. We will develop more tourism attractions, and we will keep increasing the appeal of Hong Kong. In the policy address last year, I announced a working group on developing tourism hotspots. The Chief Secretary is the head of the working group. Now, with the effort of the departments later on today, the working group will hold a press conference to announce the projects of tourism hotspots in the first phase. Now, there are 3 purposes for me to set up the working group. First of all, under the Tourism Development Blueprint 2.0, I want to strengthen interdepartmental coordination, so we could develop more popular tourism destinations in Hong Kong. And then we will leverage on the network of the 18 districts in Hong Kong. We want to make use of local community wisdom, and so we could ensure tourism is everywhere, and then we could create new hotspots. Secondly, with the new traveling pattern, we want to cater to the different preferences of tourists. That will cover cultural tourism, in-depth tourism, check-in tourism, and also gourmet tourism. And then we want to enhance existing tourism destinations. We'll include new elements, say art, culture, and gourmet food. And so we will make tourism fun. And then we also leverage on technology such as AR and VR. So we will make spending more fun and tourism more fun, so that we could create greater economic benefits. This afternoon, the Chief Secretary will lead the interdepartmental working group to announce the first phase of projects. And then next Thursday, that is the 29th of May, I plan to hold a Chief Executive's interactive question and answer sessions. I'm glad to have the consent of the President of the Legislative Council to hold this session. The session will cover 2 subjects. 1, deepening international cooperation, and 2, speeding up the development of the Northern Metropolis. At the 2 sessions this year, Premier Li Qiang pointed out in the working group that the central authorities supported the development of the economy and improvement of people's livelihood in Hong Kong and Macau. There will be deeper international cooperation for Hong Kong to integrate better into national development. This is to ensure the long-term stability and prosperity of Hong Kong and Macau. Last week, I led a delegation of Hong Kong and mainland enterprise representatives. This is a high-level delegation. We visited Kuwait and Qatar. We achieved much in the visit. So we managed to create new business opportunities and foster international cooperation. and there are new breakthrough points. So I would like to further explore with members of the Legislative Council on the way forward for Hong Kong to promote international cooperation and create new opportunities for Hong Kong. The second topic is speeding up the development of the Northern Metropolis. In 2023, the government published the action agenda for Northern Metropolis. From the west to the east, the Northern Metropolis is divided into 4 sections for the development of I&T, logistics, and also port economy circles, and then the blue-green recreation and eco-to-recreation circles. So this we want to lessen the financial burden on the government, so we have 3 pilot sites in Hong Shui Kiu, Hachun, and the new development area, Fanling North new development area, and Santin Technopole. We will adopt a large-scale land disposal approach, a pilot approach, so that we could have better efficiency in developing Northern Metropolis. For the Hotou Shenzhen Hong Kong cooperation zone and the Santin Technopole, we have to make breakthroughs in the legal and regulatory frameworks. There needs to be innovative policies so that we could better promote the flow of people, capital, technology, and data. And then these areas will become zone led by IT. It will be demonstration zone and testing fields for such developments. And then we could also encourage more high-end in I&T enterprises to come to these areas. I will be writing to the Legislative Council later so that the interactive question and answer session could be held in the morning of the 29th of May. Thank you.
The floor is now open for questions. If you want to ask questions, please raise your hand and please introduce the media outlet and ask no more than 2 questions. On the left-hand side, good morning, I'm from Sing Tao. Last week, the subsidiary legislation under the Safeguarding National Security Ordinance were floated, and just within a week, the subcommittee completed scrutiny of the 2 items, and the items will be submitted to the Legislative Council. Why is there such an urgency? Even when the chief executive, you were out of town, these items were endorsed. Well, on the day, the media took some pictures and they were invited to leave the prohibited places. Is it possible for members of the public to just take a picture of these prohibited places? And a few days ago, some journalists mounted decoy operation at the Kai Tak Sports Park, and we continue to see ticket scalping. Will the government consider rolling out a real name registration mechanism for the purchase of tickets? On numerous occasions, I explained that national security risks are akin to virus. These risks exist in our community, and they could service and harm us at any time. We are facing changes unseen in a century. With increasingly complex geopolitical landscape and external shocks, national security risks could happen all of a sudden. These could be substantial risks. National security legislation should be examined and passed as quickly as possible so as to enhance its certainty. The subsidiary legislation does not provide additional powers to the Office for Safeguarding National Security of the Central People's Government in Hong Kong SAR. The 2 pieces of subsidiary legislation provides greater clarity in terms of the details of the enactment so as to provide accuracy and certainty. The Hong Kong National Security Law stipulates the functions of the Office for Safeguarding National Security of the CPG in the Hong Kong SAR. The subsidiary legislation provides implementation details to make things clearer. By way of coordinates, the legislation sets out the area of the prohibited places, including the office. There is also signage that clearly explains to the public the areas of the prohibited places. The subsidiary legislation also provides for the assistance that a public servant must give upon direction. So it provides greater clarity. I thank the subcommittee of the Legislative Council for carefully and scrutinizing the subsidiary legislation. They spent 5 hours deliberating on the items. They also raised 150 questions and comments. I also thank my team of colleagues for explaining the subsidiary legislation in great detail and answering members' questions. This shows the constitutional duty and obligation for the legislature and the executive to fulfill the constitutional duty and safeguard national security. Now, for any member of the public passing by wishing to take a picture and check in at those places, they would in no way affect the work of the office if they do not have intention to do so. And such acts are permitted. The functions of the office will not be affected. We spell out these requirements very clearly in the legislation for the benefit of the public. So for those without ill intent who only wish to check in and take pictures for remembrance sake, then of course they are permitted. But if the acts affect the functions of the office, then of course the acts will be dealt with according to the law. Now, about the sale of VIP tickets at Kai Tak Sports Park for activities that may involve ticket scalping, the Kai Tak Sports Park attaches great importance to this matter. There are many activities and events to be held there. These activities are very popular. People scramble for tickets. So that is why we must ensure that the operations are done in accordance with the terms and conditions. And in those terms and conditions, we've stipulated that the VIP tickets are not to be resold. According to the Kai Tak Sports Park, they will handle this matter in a serious manner. They've also informed those who have hired VIP boxes that we must not resell these tickets according to the terms and conditions. Through the Culture, Sports and Tourism Bureau, I've relayed this message to the park. They should continue to collect views and continue to enhance procedures, including the application procedures and the dissemination of information, so that the public will have a clear idea as to how they can get hold of genuine Kai Tak Sports Park tickets. Next, this gentleman, last row. 我係南華早報嘅早晨。
Questions, one on the national security subsidiary and the other on the Ocean Empire Congee shop. For the national security, I was just wondering, why does the subsidiary have to be passed within a week, even without your presence in Hong Kong? Does that give an impression that there was insufficient time for the public discussion and legislative scrutiny? Is the subsidiary legislation needed because you foresee the likeliness for Beijing's National Security Office to exercise jurisdiction here, and would you be able to review the establishment of the office, as in how many staff? For Ocean Empire, the shutdown with bosses leaving workers outstanding salaries to Labour Department to handle. How do you see the trend of closures amid the poor economy, and is the trend worrying? And what's your take on some of what some see as irresponsible acts of not settling workers' pay and referring them to the government? Thank you very much.
I have said many times that national security risks are like virus. The risks always exist around us, poised to cause harm. The world is currently undergoing unprecedented changes at an accelerating pace. Geopolitics is complex, and global instability is growing. It is imperative to complete the scrutiny of the subsidiary legislation as early as possible to ensure legal certainty. The subsidiary legislation does not grant new powers to the Office for Safeguarding National Security of the CBGs in the Hong Kong SAR. It provides a clearer and more detailed description of the powers that already exist under the present law, thereby increasing legal certainty and precision. I appreciate the work of the Legislative Council Subcommittee for a serious and rigorous scrutiny of the subsidiary legislation. It took 5 hours, during which members raised over 150 questions and opinions. I also commend the government team for their work providing detailed explanations and responses to LegCo members' extensive and in-depth questions and comments. The Hong Kong National Security Law provides for the mandate of the Office. The subsidiary legislation refines the implementation rules, their details and administrative matters of these provisions, making them clearer. It also clearly marks the boundaries of prohibited places of the Office using coordinates. The Office has also put up notices within the prohibited places to inform the public of the boundaries. The subsidiary legislation also clarifies the assistance that public officers are required to provide under the law, providing clearer directions. The serious and close scrutiny of the legislation and the quick result of the subcommittee that scrutinized the subsidiary legislation reflects the executive and the legislature are working together to safeguard national security in accordance with their constitutional responsibility and obligation. Regarding some shops being closed, I have said previously that the economy is undergoing a transitional period. New demands and new likings are emerging. There are sectors which do well and some sectors which don't do as well. Some shops are closed while many are opened. The number of registered companies in Hong Kong has reached a record high. By the end of last year, for example, local companies that are registered in Hong Kong reached 1.46 million, which is an increase of some 29,000 companies. This is thanks to the hard work of the Office of both the Office of the Strategic Enterprises Attraction Office, and also Invest Hong Kong. For example, the Office for Attracting Strategic Enterprises have recruited 84 strategic enterprises which will bring in direct investments of over 50 billion Hong Kong dollars. They will also create over 20,000 jobs. Invest Hong Kong has assisted enterprises to set up or expand in Hong Kong, and the figures show an increase of 13% compared to the same period last year. The government economist has recently announced that the GDP growth this year remains 2 to 3%. The stock market is performing very well, and it is very active, with a daily turnover amounting to 270 billion Hong Kong dollars, which is a 1.4-fold increase compared to the same period last year. There will be ups and downs in different sectors during this transitional period. But overall, we'll see positive growth in our GDP this year. The government will also open up new emerging markets. The government team will continue to go to visit different parts of the world to create new business opportunities. So it is important that we maintain confidence, reform ourselves, and keep ourselves competitive. We should have confidence to sail through this transitional period, which will end with an overall positive GDP growth. Thank you.
好，最後一個提問。第尾幾個行中。
Last question in the middle, the third row, the lady there, second last row rather, second last row. Good morning, Chief Executive. I'm Hong Kong 01. Now, the Ombudsman Office, they deleted most of their record reports. They only keep records for up to 3 years. Were you aware of that beforehand? Now, because with old reports, that will help us to trace certain issues. But then this move is now criticized by the entire Legislative Council. Will you ask the Ombudsman Office to return to their old practice? And taxis have written to CE asking you to deal with some online ride-hailing apps, but then that's actually a global trend. So when will you resolve the matter? Now, it's been said that you will announce the regulatory measures this year, but will that be pushed back? Thank you. The Ombudsman Office performs its duties in accordance with the Ombudsman's Ordinance. It works independently. It is not an employee of the SAR government. The SAR government will not be involved in its operation. The Ombudsman Office updated its website operation, and it caused a debate in the community. I noticed that the Ombudsman Office issued a press release yesterday. And it explained the reasons why certain materials or records have been removed from the website. The Ombudsman's Office also published a statement to say that all the records will be kept, and there will be channels for the public to access the relevant materials. The Ombudsman Office has also announced a new arrangement on its website. The procedures to follow have been uploaded to its website. And I noticed that starting from today, the Ombudsman's Office will allow the public to seek information in accordance with the relevant application procedure. I am sure the Ombudsman Office will perform its duties properly under the relevant ordinance, and it will respond to public views accordingly. On taxi services, I'd like to stress 4 points, which is our position. 1, there has been much negative feedback on taxi services in the community. The taxi trade must take that seriously. Taxi services must be improved. The taxi fleet regime is an important part of improving taxi services. With effective taxi fleet management, that could improve the overall quality of taxi services. Now, there are some taxi fleets in their initial stage of operation. There's been positive feedback from passengers. So the taxi trade must press ahead with establishment of taxi fleets. Now, I've seen taxi drivers with good attitude, but then there are also complaints about certain drivers. The government will act in accordance with the relevant regime and laws to handle matters. The taxi drivers must also take the initiative to improve their services, and they must not stand in the way of others who want to make improvement. Secondly, we need to crack down on illegal car hire, especially car hire without any insurance coverage. In the past few months, the police has arrested over 30 drivers suspected of receiving a reward for illegal car hire. So the government will continue to crack down on such illegal car hire. Thirdly, we need to enact legislation to regulate online car hailing apps, and the platform has the duty to make sure that the drivers operate legally, and there must be the necessary insurance coverage. The Transport Department has started relevant work. It will conduct consultation and enact legislation as soon as possible. The fourth point. This term of government has the determination to address issues carried forward from many years, in regard to point-to-point transport services that includes taxi services. The sector must offer rational views. They must avoid their views being hijacked, and then rational views will be incorporated in our consultation exercise, and that will help our consultation, and then it will also help the Legislative Council to work out a legal framework for point-to-point transport services. So let's work together. Thank you. That's the end of the media session.